Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. I think the common people are very much becoming influenced by Bollywood ideas of what progress is, and becoming the middle Indian class kind of.
True.
True. What I see is that they're very much engaged in trying to compete with and come to a sense of what it means to be living a life of comfort and a life of kind of class, you could say. There's a lot of that. But even my cousin, she couldn't understand when I came to India and I said I want to study Odissi dance. She was like, why would you study Odissi? Why wouldn't you study like salsa or hip hop? She was like completely confused.
So hello viewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel Spiritual Talks, and I just would like to welcome you all today in another show in my channel, which is with one another Krishna Bhakta, which I usually interact, and it's my privilege and opportunity to interact. And let me just introduce quickly. Her name is Radhika Dasi ji, and Radhika, I think, and popularly known as Radhika Dasi now. And थोड़ा सा मैं हिंदी में आई थिंक राधिका जी यू विल एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम सेइंग बिकॉज व्यूअर्स मेरे हिंदी में बहुत ज़्यादा फॉलो करते हैं, तो मैं आपसे कन्वर्सेशन जरूर इंग्लिश में रखूंगा, बट लिटिल बिट अबाउट योर कैरियर एंड योर दिस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आई वुड लाइक टू स्पीक इन हिंदी ऑल्सो लिटिल बिट. तो व्यूअर्स, राधिका जी जिस उम्र में बच्चे खेल कूद में अपने आनंदमय जीवन में व्यस्त होते हैं, राधिका जी का झुकाव कृष्ण भक्ति की तरफ हो गया. और चलिए जानते हैं उनसे उनके कृष्ण भक्ति के इस सफर के बारे में कि कैसा उनका सफर रहा और किस तरह का उनका जो है ये पूरा स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी रही, उसके बारे में और भी बहुत सारे पहलुओं को हम टच करेंगे अपने इस चैनल पे. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वुड लाइक टू इंट्रोड्यूस एंड वेलकम राधिका दासी जी. आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद and most welcome to you in my YouTube channel, and I really thanks to you that you had given me an opportunity to interact with you. So welcome to you once again in my Spiritual Talk channel.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So Radhika ji, straight away my first question is to you that just tell about my viewers about your this journey, because it's not easy from your complete this material life, whatever we have, to leaving that. I would not say leaving, but at least from away from that and starting the spiritual journey or your Krishna conscious that journey. And I would like to understand, or the viewer would like to understand little bit about your childhood. How was that, and what kind of atmosphere and your family background you have, which leads you towards this area. Over to you.
Yeah. So actually, my mother's parents, my grandparents, they were Jewish. Back in the 60s, and they came to Krishna Bhakti when His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada came to America.
Okay.
They were just college students and they took a Bhagavad Gita class, and it totally changed their life. They were completely, their heart was completely blown away by the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, and thought, what do we do next? And they ended up going and meeting Srila Prabhupada and taking initiation, taking Diksha, and dedicating their whole youth to deepening their devotion and practicing bhakti. So my mother was born in the movement, although she's from the West. She was born with the practice of bhakti yoga, and my father is Indian. That's my native background. So I grew up in this tradition, and it's a very, in my childhood, since my childhood, I've been coming to Vrindavan. This is the land of Krishna's pastimes and birth, and was always surrounded by the beautiful celebration of music, of dance, of culture. Bhakti is all about celebration, celebrating like the pinnacle of love, the embodiment of love. And so I grew up in that devotional atmosphere, like almost every night sleeping in kirtan, sleeping in the I can loud kirtan can be going on and I can sleep through it, no problem. So we were in Vrindavan in my childhood, and I met my spiritual master, my guru, Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, who was a very, very dear friend of Prabhupada when I was 8 years old. And that's when, even though I had grown up in bhakti, my real inspiration and my real journey began after I met my guru. His presence was so, it was something I had never experienced before, to be in the presence of such a divine saint. Because although Prabhupada was always in my life, but I had never met him in my childhood. He left this world before I was born. So when my guru came into my life, he came to America for the first time in 1996, and I met him in 1998. And since that time, he always engaged me in learning about more in my study of bhakti, and he always inspired me to sing, to engage in kirtan, and to use my voice in that way. And so he would ask me to stand up and sing in front of large assemblies, and that started my deep passion for the arts, the devotional arts of this land. And so yeah, I grew up coming to India, going on pilgrimage in his company, hearing from great saints, being surrounded by great personalities, and just trying to absorb a drop of their transcendental mercy and energy, spiritual energy.
Great, it is incredible. So that's what in Hindi I told my viewers that the childhood, when kids enjoying playing and outdoor games and that kind of stuff, that time you started your this devotee journey, or Krishna Bhakti journey, I would say. And that is really incredible. So you are saying from 8 years, when you was 8-year-old, that time you met with this guru. Great.
My guru,
yeah, it is really great. And
Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, that was his name.
Okay, so he is in US or he is in India?
He is now left this world.
Oh, he is no more.
In 2010, at the age of 91. And when I come to Vrindavan, I stay in our ashram, Radhika ashram, nearby, where many of his very dear devotees are staying there. And one devotee in particular, who's a very senior disciple of my guru, he's also a very great saint, and he cooks for thousands and thousands of people every single day, and go out into the villages of Vrindavan and distribute free prashadam. Like, people from all walks of life, all sampradayas, all lineages come together in our ashram. You can't tell that this is an ashram of this sampradaya. You can tell, okay, it's this sampradaya, but all sampradayas are coming, and they have Mahaprasad. And during the lockdown, we were making thousands and thousands of puris and chapatis and rice and khichdi and dal, and going all over Vrindavan. People were so hungry. So he himself is cooking.
Great.
So he's a saint. So he's putting all his loving energy into that food. Yeah.
Great. So, coming back to your childhood background little bit, you said your father is from India. So which part of India is your where your father belongs to?
Yes, he's Punjabi.
Oh, he's Punjabi. Okay, from Punjab. Okay, and now your parents are in India, or they are in US?
They're in the US.
They are in US. Okay. So how long you been here in Vrindavan? From 2-3 months or now?
Yes, I've been here. This time I've been here from the last 3 months, but every year I spend 4 to 6 months here, and then the rest of the time I travel and I do kirtan and engage in different devotional service projects. So.
Okay, great. So my next question is to you directly, that when you realize, anyway you told from the childhood, but still when you realize you should walk the Krishna conscious path, and that time, how was your family supported you? But I understood from your initial conversation that your family, your mother and father both are Krishna devotee, and you have that atmosphere at your home. But I have seen many devotees, those who started this journey, they struggle in their initial phase. The reason being, their parents not supported them because they expect them to work, to earn some money, to do some that activity at home. So that kind of thing I have seen, because I am interacting many Krishna devotees, and those are good IITian engineers settled in US, but after that they turned into this Krishna Bhakti. But later, during that time, it was for them, it was very difficult time, because to struggle with family, to making understand their relative, their parents, so they are not too much supportive. But in your case, I don't think that that was the case. So how that realization happened when you start to walk the Krishna conscious path?
Yeah, well, my father is not exactly in a Vaishnav lineage. He's Hindu, and I think for him, he was very happy when I decided to still go to university. I graduated from UC Berkeley in international development, and he was very, very happy about that. I think that he still struggles to understand why I have to spend so much time in India and what exactly it is that I'm doing here. And my mom is very, very happy that I'm engaged in so many things that touch my heart. You know, the way that I understood it is, there was a moment actually, because I went to university. Even my guru told me to go to university and to become educated and independent and stable. And there was a moment when I was in university where I had like a clear choice, like, okay, I can pursue like this path of, becoming some kind of ambassador, working for the UN, or doing, some kind of activist work in a big way. Or there was this, deep desire in me that I always had since my childhood, to come to India and to study the ancient arts, the devotional arts. And the way that I thought about it was, you know, the great rishis and saints of India, they teach us that this life is very rare. The life of being in a human incarnation, being in a human form is very rare, because there's so many different levels of consciousness. There's actually, I was just reading in one of our scriptures that there's 5 different layers of consciousness. There's covered consciousness, and then there's like partially covered consciousness, then there's budding consciousness, blossoming consciousness, and then fully blossomed consciousness. So in the first 2 layers, you see the animal species of life that are eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. And then the 3rd layer is the next 3 layers are like the human species of life, but then there's all the humans that are still in that mode of like just survival. Have to work, have to eat, have to sleep, watch TV, go on vacation, come home, work, eat, sleep, watch TV. You know, it's just like a monotonous kind of situation.
Correct.
And then the end result of all of that is that no matter how much of an empire you're building, at the end of the day, you can't even take a single hair on your head with you. Everything is temporary. So I thought to myself, you know, and we all think, COVID taught us that, you know, you have no idea when you're gonna die. Like we all think we're gonna die in our sleep when we're 105 years old, but it's like that's the greatest mystery of creation, is that no one actually knows when they're gonna die. So I had this feeling after I graduated, and it was like this feeling of like I could see in university that it was all about finding a problem, critiquing the problem, but there's not actually much solution for the problem, because you try to solve one problem, another problem comes. Try to solve one problem, another problem comes.
Correct.
So finally, I thought I should do what I would do if it was the last day of my life, because you never know what it's. So you think, okay, if this was the last day of my life, what would I want to be doing on that day? So then I thought, you know what? I would want to be singing, dancing, and celebrating life, and celebrating the connection that we all have, that we all carry to the divine, to God and Goddess, and be cultivating that connection. And so that was how I decided to kind of start and pursue my path of not only studying the devotional arts of India, but my main focus and main goal of my artistic path is actually to meet and connect with endangered artists of India, who are the last carriers of their particular art tradition. So I'm working on a project right now. This is what I really would like to share, which is that I started a project called Voices of Raj. And I'm interviewing and connecting with very rare artists from Vrindavan who are like the last in their tradition, or are upholding, you know, major traditions of Vrindavan in the field of devotional music. So those that are singing Rasiya Kirtan, those that are singing, doing the Ras Leela performances, like that. And I'm trying to document and to archive their wisdom and their music, because there will come a time where, you know, our generation is completely influenced by the telephone, by technology, by all of that. And that mood, that bhav that's inside of the hearts of that generation is very rare, and they are starting to slowly leave this planet. So yeah, as far as my parents, the original question was how my parents have adjusted. And I think that my father is still hoping that I will one day settle down, get married, have a quite a normal life. But I'm going with the flow of Paramatma and where he's, you know, leading me in my life. So
great. So first of all, I would like to wish you all the best, and the support, whatever, if you would like from me, any help, any kind of things, that also I will extend to you for your this project, and wish you all the best. And it is a really great initiative where we will you are collecting and interacting with those cultures, those musicians, and because that 100% is true. You said after 10 years, 20 years down the line, and even the from last if we look at the 20 years before or 30 years before, what was the
Yeah,
culture and what kind of folk or musics or how that was in even that Brindavan bridge area, that is
yeah,
almost now gone. Nobody is even
gone.
remembering that, right? So it is a
It's
great initiative, I would say, if that some piece of that you able to collect and create a library, that will be the great help to the entire this culture, Indian ancient culture.
And apart from just archiving the wisdom of the teachers, the next aspect is, like recently, I met this one amazing artist and I did an interview with him. And he is actually able to, he sings to
Hmm.
cows that are injured and he's able to heal the cows through his
Oh,
singing.
oh,
He's
great.
singing in such a way that the cows become healed by
Yeah,
his
yeah.
singing.
Absolutely, and
So,
that is very much true. Even if we usually say that when any women in pregnancy, if you listen the that kind of music, bhajan, and some healing music, which creates the vibration into that baby which is on the womb of the mother, and it creates a different aura and the different. That baby brain and everything that impacts. So that is very much true because
yeah.
that is very much in our culture, not only our, now scientifically also it is proven.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next part of the project then is the first part of the project is finding these great masters. And then the next question is how can we connect, because now students also they don't have interest in learning. They only want to learn salsa and hip hop and all of these things,
Absolutely.
so how will the traditions be continued? So we've started a gurukul. Our ashram has started, one person from our ashram has started a gurukul,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm now helping with the heritage department of that gurukul as well.
Mm-hmm.
And these students, the students of this gurukul, they're the ones that are like, not even sudras, like very, very like street beggars on the street,
Mm-hmm.
living in very intense conditions, but they are so intelligent and so spirited and so loving and smart and beautiful. And so we're working on providing education for all these students. We give them free food from the temple every single day. We feed them, clothe them. A lot of the students come and they admit themselves to the school. So this is also a very precious thing to support, because we want to connect these students to these teachers and give them an opportunity to kind of become, how do we change the world? We raise the kids in a way that promotes them being stewards of the earth and knowing how to take care of the land and how to continue the music and the art and the culture and develop like a real appreciation for their heritage. So
Great.
it's kind of a combined project, and that's called the Bhakta Bandhav Gurukul.
Oh,
So I'll
okay.
also send you the link for that.
Yeah, yeah, please, please.
People
You
can
send
see
me
that.
and I will mention in the video as well
Hmm.
in the description. And in future we will, if I'm visiting Brindavan, because I have lot of invitation from Brindavan now. So
Yeah.
I just want to mention last year in July we have in our my village, that Uttarakhand Ranikhet, we have done a Srimad Bhagavad Katha 7 days, and the Maharajji Sri Sumedanand Maharajji from came from Vrindavan only, and he is master in that Krishna Bhakti, this Srimad Bhagavad Katha.
Mhm.
So he also requested me to visit their ashram. So I thought
Yes.
I will sometime I will 100% going to be visit in future when I am in India, that
Yeah.
Vrindavan. So
Please
that,
come to Prashad, to our
yeah, yeah,
temple.
absolutely. I will 100%. So, going to the next question, Radhika ji, that is my next question is, after this walking this path or spiritual, your this spiritual journey or Krishna conscious path when you took, after that, basically, what kind of changes you have seen in your life? um, because that is also very important to know to the people that because we all are in our this material life. So
Yeah.
we aim, we desire some lot of things too. We will have car, we will have home big, we will spend some travel in that country, this country. So these all, in spite of that, after walking this path, what kind of changes happen in your life?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I can say that for myself, I'm still very much a practitioner, and so it's a constant, it's a constant. We're always battling the mind and the senses in this material world, and they say that three different kinds of uh, there's three different kinds of modes of existence, right? There's the mode of goodness, there's the mode of passion, there's the mode of ignorance. So we're always functioning under one of these kinds of modes. So when we come to the mode of goodness, right, when we come to develop a sattvic lifestyle where there's discipline, there's cleanliness, there's humility, there's adopting the nature and the qualities of a yogi, of a spiritual seeker, then we find that it's not that there's no suffering, because suffering in this material world is like waves in the sea, sometimes coming, sometimes going. But it's that within the realm of happiness and distress, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, a sage is one who's equiposed in the face of that happiness and distress. And so what it is it's practicing, it's the practice of navigating our our attachment. Like bhakti is not about just giving everything up. Bhakti is about adopting or navigating our activities and our consciousness and dovetailing them in the mood of loving service. So everything becomes something that is, instead of being something negative, that's something positive. And when you water the roots of the tree, then the whole tree flourishes. So for example, like you can pick a flower and you can just put the flower in your hair and you can smell the flower. But if you take the flower and you offer it, you give it to your beloved, and your beloved smells that flower, then you'll feel more joy. So in the same way, Krishna consciousness or bhakti is the practice of simply including the presence of God in our lives, in our hearts, in our everyday lives. And so in that way, your life becomes sweet because you're watering the roots of the tree. You're nourishing, you're feeding your soul. You have to feed your body to be healthy. You have to feed your mind to have good consciousness and become, like the mind can be the best friend or the worst enemy. So you have to feed the mind in order for the mind to become your friend. And in the same way, you have to feed the soul. And feeding the soul means nourishing the relationships of the soul, the connections of the soul, which is ultimately to Paramatma, Atma and Paramatma, the super soul and the soul. So within my own personal journey and my own personal life, I've felt that the moods and the cultivation of devotion that I've seen in the hearts of the saints is the most beautiful, profound thing that I've witnessed. And I've always, if anything, I've developed a desire that I want to taste something that they're tasting, because you always see that energy and that embodiment within somebody that you love, that you admire, and you see it in real life. And then it's like they say that bhakti comes from bhakta's heart. So some desire has come to experience that within myself.
Okay, great. So coming to that very straightforward and practical question, because I understand that you are walking this path, and now you understand basically the actual what we need in our life. That is also fine, but it is also very natural that sometimes those desires also will come, right? You will you also feel that you should have some better lifestyle, some that kind of uh, home, house, or you will also have one day a good car, or that kind of some
Yeah.
desires naturally. I believe everyone, whoever is, but that comes. So that
Yeah.
happen with you or not? That is first question. Or second, how you deal with that then? Adjust your natural thought, because this is very natural actually. In Gita also
Yeah.
Krishna said desires will come
Yes.
automatically, because that is very natural with a human being, right? So that will come, but how you deal with that? That is the second part of that question.
Yeah. So desires are coming from our senses. Our senses want to enjoy something. So we want to smell a beautiful smell. We want to taste with our mouth. We want to hear palatable words, sweet
Hmm.
words, right?
Hmm.
We want to engage all of our senses in things that are very pleasing to the senses.
Hmm.
And so the practice of yoga is the practice of you know, it's the practice of developing spiritual senses. So
Hmm.
spiritualizing your senses quite literally.
Hmm.
And we do that through, whatever you want to taste in this world. You can taste it in a way that's temporary, or you can taste it in a way that's adding to your spiritual bank account. It can go either to your material bank account, or it can go either to your spiritual bank account. So that's why I said our process is not the process of vairagya or dry renunciation, but it's the process of yukta vairagya, of dovetailing everything for Krishna Bhakti. So, for example, if you cook a wonderful meal, okay, you have the desire to taste something, to taste a meal, and you can't help it. You have that craving, that desire, right? So cook something, and as much as possible, try to engage your consciousness in the mood of, I'm cooking this for my friend. Before thinking of yourself, I'm cooking it for just the same way a mother does for her child. So you cook it, then you offer it to Krishna, then whatever you take is prasad. So in that way, you're engaging in that way. If for those that are having desire for a relationship or a partnership in their life, instead of seeing their partner as this partner is mine, and they're mine to control, they're mine to enjoy, they're mine to take from, you try to develop the mood of like, how can I lovingly serve this person? How can I lovingly give to this person in a way that will help them and nourish them on their spiritual path, so that they can become more close to God? So everything that you do, it's not about the external, it's about your mood, it's about your consciousness. And so it's training your consciousness to be in a mood of service rather than in a mood of enjoyment. And you can do it with anything. If you have some oils, some essential oils that you want to decorate yourself with, some perfume, you think, let me offer some perfume to my Thakurji first. First, let me give some, first let me cook something and give it to others, and then let me take. So this spiritual practice is about service. Service is the backbone of the spiritual practice. And all of those comforts, it's about how we identify ourselves. So for example, people that are depressed in this world, and they are they want to hurt, they abuse their bodies, like they're taking drugs, or they're like engaged in trying to take away their sorrows in some way by indulging in the senses. You can see that they're never happy. They're covering their miseries. They're just covering their miseries. But if you understand that ultimately, like, you can just go full enjoyment. I want to enjoy everything in this world, everything. But then why are celebrities so miserable? There's so many celebrities who are completely miserable. They have everything materially, but they're not happy.
That's
So
absolutely.
happiness is a state of consciousness. It's a state of being. You don't need anything to be happy. There's no one in this world that can fulfill your sense of being happy and being peaceful. That can only and ever come from within. That can only come from within. So we chant, we also, a huge part of our practice is engaging our tongue in kirtan. Kirtan is like our main method of worship, singing and engaging it. And I've personally witnessed and experienced that being in a really incredible kirtan is like, you're like buzzing from head to toe. Like it's something completely divine. The names of God are so powerful that it's so uplifting to the spirit. I've experienced being in such an amazing kirtan that I'm like, I have no desire to eat. I have no desire to sleep. I have no desire to, you know what I mean? Like, you forget about everything because you're in such a state of in such a state of calling out and experiencing the kirtan. So everything can be dovetailed, and everything is actually blissful in spiritual life. My teacher used to say, if you're not blissful, if you're sad, then you're doing when you're doing your practice, you're doing your bhakti. If you're not blissful, then something is off.
Yeah.
Something is wrong.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So another questions related to the similar kind of things. That is very true actually. How you desire will come, but how you handle them, how you control them, and if a person understand that that is the momentary, all materialistic achievements, I would say, or I would not say achievement, but desire or whatever, because that is the momentary and long, it's not long, right? So there is no limitations, there is nothing. So I have seen that in the celebrities, even in Hollywood, Mumbai, you can see many disasters happen in spite of having huge money with them, everything with them, but still they committed suicide very young, last year, last to last year, right? So that kind of things happen, and it's the reality, because ultimately your focus, your peace, your happiness is not lying with the material life. That is the different which people should take. So that is one thing. Now I am asking the similar practical question to you, that how your friends and family member, I know that your parents are supportive, though you said your father desired that you back to the normal. I don't know what you mean by that, back to the normal, but at least for them, you settle down, you get married, you have that, which is it's not your parents, it is same my parents or everybody thought about their children's, right? So it's nothing, they are not wrong in their thinking, I am saying, but still they are supportive to you. How your friend circle and your relatives, and how they takes your this journey?
Actually, all my friends are in bhakti. I don't
Oh,
know anyone even who's not in bhakti.
oh, great, great.
Yeah.
Then it is great. And how about the relatives? How they
All my
view?
friends and relatives are in bhakti.
Oh, okay. Then it is, you have that atmosphere, and you, I would say that you will never struggle for that pressure
Yeah.
actually, which is that is a really
My brother is in the Navy,
oh,
and yeah, my younger brother's in the Navy, and he has a very different kind of modality and lifestyle than me. He's only 25, and he has 2 houses, and he's in a relationship, and he has, I don't know, and it's interesting, his name is Arjun, and he's in the Navy, but we he's not definitely not on the same spiritual path that I'm on. I'm sure he's spiritual in his own way, but I'm pretty sure he probably finds me to be kind of strange. But he's very polite about it. So.
That's okay. That's how it is. I met here in Norway. She is Sanatani Devi. She is the ESKCON, heading the ESKCON activities in Oslo, capital in Norway. And I had an interview with her as well. So similar question I asked her. She also told the same. Mother and father are supporting her very upfront, and they said, "Okay, you are in good. If you are happy, you do this." And
Mm.
but her brother is an entirely different, that complete dude type
Mm.
of guy, right? Going club, coming, and
Mm.
having non-veg and that stuff. So he said, we don't have anything like we have a equally love. We love each other equally, but
Mm.
he understand my sensitivity and I understand his sensitivity, so we never
Yes.
interfere on that, but we love each other, we support each other. So that's what
Yes.
she told. So if that is the family atmosphere, then there is nothing to worry about. So next question is straightforward to my uh, favorite topic, which is spirituality. So how do you define the spirituality for a common people?
Well, spirituality is relating to that which is eternal, to the eternal spirit. Spirituality, there's a quote saying that we're not humans having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. So it's our nature actually to seek that which is not temporary. And that's why love in this world can be so painful, because whatever we love, or I would say it's not love that's painful, but it's the attachment that's painful, because whatever we're attached to inevitably we'll have to part ways from. So I think spirituality is understanding, the first principle is understanding that you're not this body, that this body is just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam jada tata dehantara praptir dirastatra namuyate. The embodied being is continuously passing from boyhood to youth to old age, and similarly into another body after death. But a self-realized person is never bewildered by such a change. So that is the depth of, like, you want to see if you're spiritual, then come face to face with death, and see how you can see how a person dies is really how evolved they were in their life. Are you ready to let go of everything with grace? But beyond that is what is eternal, what is temporary, and what is eternal? That's the big question. So what is temporary? This mind, this body, our false ego. I'm a woman, I'm a man, I'm young, I'm old, I'm straight, I'm gay, I'm married, I'm unmarried. All the ways that we identify ourselves. I'm this nationality, I'm Indian, I'm Brahmin, I'm Kshatriya, I'm even that. All of that is temporary. What is eternal? I'm a spirit soul, and what is the eternal nature of the spirit? So many spiritual paths from around the world. For me, I like to think, what are the common things that all spiritual paths agree on? What is the commonality? So the existence of the soul, the existence of the knowledge of the soul, that the soul is this being. They say that when the soul is in the womb of the mother, it can remember hundreds of lifetimes. It has the wisdom, and that's why the soul has this very deep spiritual experience in the womb of realizing, kind of like seeing the bigger picture, because the soul hasn't been covered with a dense material body yet. So the soul has this understanding of its real nature. But then as soon as we could get bound by this body and our desires, and suddenly we're like, these are my parents, this is mine, and that's mine, and I am this and I am that. But really, our soul, the three common ingredients of the spirit, of every single spirit, not the spirit of a human, the spirit of a mosquito, the spirit of a worm, the spirit of an elephant, the spirit of a tiny little microorganism is Sat, Chid, and Ananda. Existence, eternality, eternal existence, consciousness, and bliss. These three things. Every living being is by nature blissful, by nature conscious, and by nature eternal. And so that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor any of these kings, nor shall there ever be a time when any of us will cease to be. And really understanding that, not in like a theoretical way, but like really coming to terms with your mortality. I think that that is one of the most powerful practices, you know, including a death meditation in your life every day. That, you know, our time, we're not just here to like make sense of this world. We're not just here to build an empire, you know. We're here for a second, and then on to the next form, and we're gonna keep coming back and back and back and back until we evolve and until we develop, you know, our perfected state of consciousness.
True. So I understood you said very correctly this, that spirituality is not about the word, it is about ourself, right? To understand ourself, that is the spirituality. But do you feel that this concept to understand about yourself, if you look at from a practical point of view, I always in all forum discuss this point. There are the two reasons behind it. One is spirituality and these bhakti marga. These everything are because of XYZ reason. I don't want to get into those reasons, but that are very limited to few people. Either I would say few gurus, or either I would say few organizations. But why? But that is very required for each and everyone actually. And why one can define practicality of this spirituality, because what I understood from many forum that that is one thing, is one point is very much you have to understand yourself, your weakness, focus on yourself, that is the spirituality. But my question is how spirituality can, or spiritual guidance can benefit or improve a life of one common person like me. I am not claiming that I am in bhakti marga, I am doing some job and all. No, but if I am following my IT work, if I am doing some social work, how the spiritual guidance can benefit me as well, or as a common people also, how it can benefit. So that actually I try to always get the insight from people, those who are in this journey. Hope you understand my question, because if people if these knowledge or these understanding or these insight of spirituality is limited to few people, then it is not going to help to the society, to the humanity. If we really want to improve humanity ground, like example the disaster happened, corona across the world, only the humanity saved the people, because we don't know what happened with whom. And you have money, then also that will not help you. But what help you, the care of each other. So that teaches, even if you look at the India role in across the globe, because Modi ji sent the vaccines across the globe and they help, though India himself was struggling and a lot of things were required during that time, but still India come to the front and send it the help to the different other countries as well. So these are not the spiritual value we are following or the government is following, the similarly from a common man. So what do you how do you look at this problem actually?
Well, I think the main problem is a problem of existence. It's an existential thing. We're all existing here and we all have to die. That's the commonality. Every human is existing.
Yeah.
And every human has to die.
Yeah.
So are we ready for that?
Yeah.
Are we ready for that? Everyone is headed down the same path. Doesn't matter whether they're, you know, a doctor, a lawyer, a resident of the ashram. Not that someone is, you know, someone is who's a doctor and living in the world and doing all this stuff can be much more spiritual than someone who's living in the temple. It has nothing to do with your outsides. It has to do with how you're engaging your consciousness. So ultimately, you know, you can, whatever path you're on, the practice of devotion, of developing your devotion, your connection to God is going to be something that's uplifting to you in your life. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's the great saint for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, he appeared 500 years ago in Bengal, and his primary teaching was kind of breaking down, it was like the original resistance kind of Occupy movement, breaking down all of the barriers between the different castes and creeds and saying, hey, wait a minute, this knowledge is not for one particular sect of society. This knowledge is for every living being. And he said, no, Jivira Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas, Krishnera Tatashta Shakti, Veda Ved Prakash. Every living being is eternally connected to God.
True. Very much true. So my next question, Radhika ji, I am almost approaching end of my session. So my next question to you is, you've been in India for now very long, this time as well, and maybe the earlier also you visited. How do you feel the Indian society awareness of spirituality in Indian society?
Awareness of spirituality in Indian society.
Yes, how they see.
You know, I think that
and I am asking this question from a perspective of common people. I'm not asking from a gurus and all. I know that there is very much, because that is the originations where people are. So that was my opening remark.
Yeah, no, I think the common people are very much becoming influenced by you know, Bollywood ideas of what progress is, and you know, becoming the middle Indian class kind of.
True.
You know, what I see is that they're very much engaged in trying to compete with and come to a sense of what it means to be living a life of comfort and a life of class, you could say. There's a lot of that. But you know, even my cousin, she couldn't understand when I came to India and I said I want to study Odissi dance. She was like, why would you study Odissi? Why wouldn't you study like salsa or hip hop? You know, she was like completely confused. But I think deep down, because of the deep roots of Sanatan Dharma that are in this land, and Bharat Bhumi, which is, you know, held the lotus feet of Krishna and so many great saints, I think deep down every Indian understands that God is the center of existence. I mean, maybe some of the new generation that's like atheists, they don't understand, but I think like at least my parents' generation and up, they understand that like there's a compass. That's why you see even, you know, the any rickshaw wala, any fruit wala, they have their little altar of their little Bhagavan that's there. They're offering incense and they're offering flowers because there is a sense of God in everything here, in every so, you know, and many people, I think it's starting to become a thing where they just do the rituals just because the rituals are, you know, like, you know, I asked someone like, okay, you're following this. Do you actually have faith in it? Do you believe in it? She's like, no. Our parents did it and their parents did it, and we don't believe all these stories. We're just doing it because this is the, common thing and whatnot. So anyhow, they're doing it. Anyhow, it's going on.
Yeah.
So, but we don't want that. What's the point of doing something just because it's a dry ritual? The point is to have relationship with it, to have an understanding of its function in society. So India was always a country that functioned on Sanatan Dharma, and under Sanatan Dharma, everything existed. The Muslims were there, the Hindus were there, the Buddhists were there, the Jains were there, and somehow they were all managing, and like there was a lot of there were wars and there was conflict, but anyhow there was also a kind of peace that was happening under Sanatan Dharma. Everyone was existing, and it got really, really bad later on, and the onset of the global kind of this is what it should look like to live a life of progress and a life of meaning, economic growth, and destroy the planet at any means to make economic growth. That's the global homogeny, the development of mono farming, and the green revolution in India, and developing all of these bridges and these India's development before the British India was the wealthiest place on the planet, so rich, and so I think that with that now it's become much cooler to try to be like a Westerner, to develop these kinds of identities, you could say. But deep down, I think that everyone here knows, it's there, it's in their blood, but they're like ignoring it, many people.
Yeah.
Or they don't understand its function in society. The world doesn't make sense. And then again, there's India is such a diverse country. Then there's extremely devout, die-hard traditionalists who are very devout to their spiritual path. So I've met so many different kinds of people.
Yeah.
But I've noticed in general that, like, I've also seen, living in Orissa, I saw how I saw both functions in society. I saw the people that were just kind of like, not really understanding the value of their heritage, not really understanding how special it is that they're born in the land of Lord Jagannath. And then I would also see that, like, you go to Puri Mandir, you go outside, you go into Jagannath Mandir, any Mandir, and you see that people are standing in front of Lord Jagannath, and they're just weeping, and they're singing to him, and they're talking to him like he's their best friend, and they have this deep mood of like intimacy with God that for me as a Westerner, I'm like, I can't even do that. Like, that's something that is like, in Vrindavan, you see, I went to Brajabasi's house. I saw her, she's holding her Gopal and taking fruit cream and putting the cream on the Gopal, and they have this mood of deep intimacy. So I think that's like, there's the commoner, and then there's maybe the less commoner, the more rare, but that's also there. The natural bhakti and devotion is also very much there.
Yeah, true. I agree with that. Even in my all interactions with the people, those who now settle in India from abroad, and I am in Europe, so I have quite experience here to the people whom I'm interacting with, and people are getting associated with our Indian value culture, and they are gelling with that. And that is two statement what you given, that is very very true. First, you said that people are understand our these cultures, Sanatan Dharma culture, and that the reason in every home you will see a temple and people are worshipping. But in how much that in real sense, that is a different story.
And
But
I think that's the difference between religiosity and spirituality.
ha,
I think there's a lot of very religious Indians,
yes,
but becoming spiritual, it's like you can be a, Hindu nationalist and say, I'm for Hindutva and, India for the Hindus, and and kind of have that spirit of
yeah,
like,
yeah,
but really spirituality is something much deeper.
nothing, yeah,
It's
absolutely,
it's what it's much deeper than that. It's like
absolutely.
really comes down to your soul, you
Yes,
know?
yes, absolutely. And in spirituality, if you follow the guidelines, you will not see any misery in your life actually. Fact is,
Mm.
having good relation with each other is the key, and that is missing. But that I fully agree. But what I am trying to say, which is in India, you will see we are just not doing that worship, puja, and going temple. No, it's not just like we are
Mm.
following the tradition, but in Indians we have that conviction that
Mm.
Krishna is there, Krishna Bhakti is there. This is Laddu Gopal. If you are keeping it inside the home, this will bless you. So that conviction, it's not a faith. I would
Mm.
say that is the good part in all Indians have. We have the conviction. That is one thing.
Mm.
Now, coming to that spirituality, as I said, when we talk about the spirituality, spirituality is nothing to do with the religion actually. It's about
Okay.
now it is fine. So that's a how. So the same I got the feedback from other interviews. One is Bhagwat Sadhvi Bhagwati. Recently I did. She is from California and moved to Rishikesh, and now from last 25 years, she told me that when I complete my 25 years plus one day, that day I will say I am fully Indian because I spend more time in India. And she also told the similar things about the Indian and their spirituality concept and all. But that is good
Mhm.
part that we have that understanding. But anyway, that will take some time to come up that to understand the deeper. Last one questions to you, Radhika ji.
Mhm.
You sing very well. I have seen your some of bhajan you sing. Uh,
Mhm.
can you just one line? Can you sing one the best bhajan which is very near to your heart, Krishna Bhakti,
Mhm.
to my viewers?
Um, I guess I would just sing Mahamantra then, because Mahamantra is the supreme
Okay.
mantra of time.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
uh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Ram.
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, Radhika ji. And that's it from today. And once again, thank you so much giving me this opportunity to interact with you and sharing your thought process. And it is very going to be a very insightful to the young generation, because since you are also young and you are running a lot of things, there are a lot of questions around. I thought I would ask, but time is not permitting me because I know you are also engaged in many other activities. I will not engage much this time, this much only, and I hope my viewers will enjoy and understand and follow the path the way you guys are following, at least some sense on the spirituality, which really
Mhm.
improve any can improve anyone's life. So once again, thank you so much to interacting with me, and have a great day. And in future also we will interact sometime. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you, viewers.